Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's Monday Motivation. This motivation has been lovingly created to help you to motivate your morning, your Monday, your week, and this week also your month, because as we slide out of July and slide into August, the 8th month already, can you believe it? There might be something that you're working on that you yourself will need some motivation. This could be a project. This could be something you're doing at work. This could be something you're doing in your business, even your life. What motivates you? So if you've ever been working on a project, ever been wanting to achieve or do something, and found yourself maybe either falling off the wagon or on the opposite end of that, just powering through, but not really knowing what it is that has had you go for it and power through, then this might not only be the episode for you, it might also be the episode unwittingly for one of your Facebook friends, your family, or someone that you're connected with right here. So if you know of somebody who might need a bit of motivation, maybe they've mentioned they can't get going doing this, or they get going but they can't keep going, then do share this with them. Now, just to give you a spectrum of different things, I just want to acknowledge you, Alan. Good morning. Just waving back at you there. Thank you for joining. And for those of you that are watching and looking in the background, that's absolutely fine too. But if you, like Alan, want to pop on and say hi, please do. So some of the things that I've worked with people to motivate them on as a life coach originally, but now specialising in helping people to stand out, so career visibility, that kind of thing. Some of the things that people have wanted to get motivated about have been things like getting better sleep. That's a very common one, which is ironic. I got to bed really late last night. My own fault. I don't really do caffeine. Yeah, I had a caffeinated drink quite late, so 1 o'clock I was still like this. Ping! Gave me good time to think about the content for now. So, getting more sleep. For some people it's about their health and how they might want to transform it. They might already be healthy but want to do something different. Maybe you're driven to achieving a goal for something or someone, and I'm going to come on to this in just a second. It could be that there's something that you want to stop doing so that you can start doing something else, or something that you want to start doing so that you can stop doing the thing. Regardless of what it is, please don't keep this a secret. It is Monday. It's a time where sometimes some people struggle with being motivated. For many of you that show up here live and you comment and you say hello, you might not have any kind of issue with motivating yourself. In fact, much of my audience are people that are into personal development, either personal, professional, even spiritual development. So we tend to go through life seeing what's possible, but there are many people that don't. And for some people, these words might be a bit like, but how do you get there? How do you motivate yourself? Which is the very reason that I've created this Facebook Live. So think about, and for those of you that are maybe going through or working through something that you really want to be pumped up or motivated about, or that you just want to see it through to fruition, think about one of those things. I say one of those things because quite often when I'm working with people and I ask them to think of something, they either say nothing or they say lots of things. So let's start with there and help you with if that's you and if that happens, because I know it certainly happens to me. So the first thing that happens is people will often say to me, I can't really think of anything. Although to be fair, normally by the time they're working with me, they've got a very definite clue or clues on exactly specifically what they want to work with me about. And more things normally uncover afterwards. So if you're thinking, oh no, I'm not really sure what that thing that I want to motivate myself for is, it's likely that you thought of something and with a few seconds probably dismissed it. For many reasons, you might have dismissed it because you've said, not that, that's too personal, not that, that's too big, not that, it's silly. So there'll be those kind of like mental trains of thoughts that you go through first. Nothing is too big, too small, too silly, too important, too anything. It's your thing. So number one, if it's your thing, let's go for your thing. Sometimes people think, oh, well, I'd like to think about this thing, but it's out of control. So quite recently I was speaking to somebody who heads up a specific department in a specific organisation. Obviously I'm not going to say who, where or when. And they felt that the reason that they couldn't move ahead with certain things and felt a little bit demotivated was because it's down to somebody else, not down to me. So sometimes we think, oh, well, it's out of my control, basically. And then the other thing that comes up for people is that they have so many different things. They then become, it's almost like an indecision. Well, there's this thing, this thing, this thing, and this thing. In my experience, the people that I've worked with tend to have all of those things and say, I can't pick one because I've got this, 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 and this. Therefore, they're trying to work on them all on the same time. So the reason that I kind of throw out that smorgasbord of the different things there is so that you can put yourself where you want to be, so that, or see yourself where you are, so that you can kind of pluck yourself out of that, put yourself where you want to be. Hopefully that makes sense. So here's the thing. There are from neuro-linguistic programming, they talk about self-motivators and things that will kind of spur us along and in very many different ways. Hey Teresa, hi, morning. She says, good morning, Alan. I love that all of you lot say good morning to each other. It is 7 a.m. at the time of recording this. So if you're watching this on the replay, please don't think this is something that I sit and batch record and then put them out there. I mean, you can tell by the tonality of my voice that this isn't something that I have been playing with, editing with. This is me, real and raw. So back to what could motivate you. Out of these 24 different main types of motivators, and there of course will be more depending on our experiences, who we've grown up with, how our surroundings have been, where we started from kind of 0 to 7, those sorts of things will be literally embedded within us by the age of 7. But there are some that I work with. In fact, there are 10 that I work with on a regular basis because it seems to get the most out of people. And a lot of the people for example, in my communities, my online communities, not just communities that I might run or create, but the places kind of like where I tend to put myself, people are really interested in being self-aware, and they don't tend to walk around with a superiority complex. In fact, they do recognise their strengths and the things that they're great at, but quite often they know that there's another layer, and the best way to get to that other layer is through being self-aware. So even when they share or speak, they tend to look more on the side of, well, how can I do this differently, or what can I do to make that better? So always looking for that kind of self-improvement, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know that sometimes it can get a bad rap. Nothing wrong with just wanting to be different, do better, have more. Some people call it success, and it's not just about money and having things. It's about being the best version of yourself that the world can see. So here are a couple of these 10 to think about, because I commit to making these Facebook Lives a bit shorter for you so that you can really take in the nuggets that are being shared. So pen and paper time if you're so inclined, and if not, save this video. Just go to the top of the video. On the right hand side you'll see an arrow, and if you save it you can come back to it any time, this morning, this Monday, this week, even this month. So first thing, people often use this particular motivator almost like back to front and upside down. And this is the one that's where you're driven either by yourself or by others. Now, word to the wise, depending on the thing you're looking at. So, for example, for a cup of tea, for example, one of your sides of the spectrum that you will slide towards might be yourself, and that might seem obvious as an example. But then you find yourself, maybe you're in an office and you are about to have appraisals, and you might find yourself driven by something else other. Now, I know in personal development people talk about things outside of you and things being an inside job, and that's completely 100%. However, what you'll find is that within ourselves, we're either driven by something that starts within us, or well, always by something that starts within us, but then either driven to do it, to finish it, to put it out there by other people or ourselves. So let me give you an example. Monday motivation. I had a glass of not even a whole glass, half a can of Coca-Cola last night, and it's interesting because it's caffeinated. I very rarely drink Coca-Cola, but I had just a little bit of Coca-Cola, and which meant I'm quite sensitive to caffeine, and many of you will laugh because many people talk about needing like 3 cups of coffee before they can get going. I don't do coffee. I don't even do caffeinated tea. So whenever I do have anything with caffeine in it, boy oh boy, does it have a good effect. And last night at 1 o'clock, I was constructing like how I wanted to position this Monday motivation, because I was like this. So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because this morning I could have said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to do the Monday motivation this morning. I can just stick up something that says, sorry, no Monday motivation at 7. It's going to be at this time instead, But I didn't, because of one of my own motivators. And on this occasion, remembering that I've got self or other, and you can be anywhere in between, mainly self with a tiny bit of other, or half and half, or a lot of other with a little bit of self. So imagine that there's a line here with self on one side, other on the other side. You can be anywhere along that line. So I am driven on these Monday motivations to give something to motivate others. So it would be really rare for me to put up a sign and say, oh, I'm tired, or I can't do that. Bearing in mind that I still, even though this starts at 7 a.m, I'm still normally up by 6 o'clock, and I like to get a good 6 to 8 hours sleep. So I could have said, no, I'm not going to do it. But because my drive on this particular thing is very other driven, it would have taken like an illness, an emergency, a complete lack of internet connection, for example, or phone connection, for me to have said, no, I'm not doing it. What did you get from that example? Think about the thing that you want to do. Think about the thing that you want to create. What did you get from that example? And for many of you, you might need a moment or two to think about that. If you don't want to share here publicly on the page in the comments below, which is a great idea because it helps other people, and often, especially in kind of workshops and live environments, people go, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Yeah, actually, I'm very similar to this, and it sparks off more thought. But if you don't want to put in the comments below, either here or on YouTube, depending on where you're watching this, then we do have the Visibility Vibes Tribe Facebook group, and if you're wondering what on earth is that about, how do you get there, then again, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it in the comments and the links below. And for those of you here watching this on Facebook, either live or on the replay, if you're not already part of that group, what are you waiting for? Full of gorgeous, yummy people who want the best for themselves, they want the best out of life, and they're really happy to support you all to do it. In fact, some of the people that like and comment under here, you'll actually see them over in the Visibility Vibes Tribe Facebook group as well. You'll see some of them on video, you'll see some of their posts. They are the most yummiest, juicy people. So I digress. But here's the thing. Think about the thing that you might want to do, that you might feel that you need motivation on. It could be something business related, work related, personal, kind of like relationship, health, well-being, or any of those great subjects. It could be any of those. Think about that thing, and given the example I've just used, where are you on the yourself or the other person scale? Are you somewhere in the middle? Are you a little bit self, mostly other, a little bit other, mostly self, or a little bit self, mostly other? I think I've said that the wrong way around, but you get my drift. So and also a really good thing to use with these is like, what did you just get from that? So what did you get from that? Did it spark off a light bulb? Did it make you think about something that you hadn't quite thought about before? Those are the real life golden nuggets to capture. So there's that. And then some of the other ways that you can look for motivation. So for example, again, just using that before I give you another example in closing, what if you have got something, so here's another one for you business owners, it's that time of year where your VAT bill will be due very soon. And if you're anything like me, accountancy isn't my wheelhouse, so I tend to give everything over to my accountant and they get on with it. And then there's this process where we go backwards and forwards, just checking, all my statements are in, all the stuff is uploaded electronically, making sure that I'm happy with certain elements of things. There's this kind of backwards and forwards piece, and eventually it'll be finished. And because on these sorts of things, I'm like, not my zone of genius, I get really excited as we get towards that. It's finished, it's crossed off, here's the bill, here's what you need to pay, because I know it's all done. So maybe you're working on something like that or similar to that right now. What is going to have you happy to finish it? Is it going to be how you feel at the end of it? Or is it going to be, well, I haven't held up my accountants, for example. I'm not sitting on answers or paperwork or anything else like that. That's a really good example to see where you are. And the reason that it's good to have a look at these motivators is that you can then use them moving forward. In your next project or next thing that you want to do, you can say, well, is it me that really wants this, or do I need this or want this on behalf of somebody else? Maybe it's the kids, maybe it's the client, maybe it's somebody else, the family, the friends. Maybe it's because the thing, like a talk, is for somebody else and you feel somewhere in between that. So those are just some examples of how you can use that kind of self and other motivation. The other one, especially that I come across a lot in the entrepreneurial and business field, as an entrepreneur, the sort of one of the classic traits of somebody who's entrepreneurial is that they have lots and lots of ideas, and they like starting lots of things, and they might not necessarily enjoy finishing them off. That's quite a natural characteristic, if you like. So one of the kind of motivators, again, if you draw it on a line, you've got starting something new or doing something new or experiencing something new, or you've got something that you've already done. Now, again, for many people, they tend to kind of sit somewhere on the spectrum between the two, and they tend to have like a favourite area. Of course, there'll be other things where, they don't like it when it's they have to do it from new. They prefer to have the background experience and build on it. So is the thing for you, is starting something new the thing that motivates you, and then where you actually feel like you need help with the motivation is to get it finished? Or are you okay with finishing stuff, but you're just like, oh my gosh, getting it started, I become so indecisive, I don't know what to do. The reason to identify just some of these motivators is so that you know at any particular time where you sit, and you take away almost like the head mess, or as my American friends say, the head trash of beating yourself up about not doing something in the same way that they do it, or he does it, or she does it, or that company does it, or this person does it. When you know where you are on I'm really great at the new stuff, but not so great at the finishing stuff, and then being able to build on it, kind of gives you a bit of slack. And that in itself will give you motivation. What are your thoughts? Do you identify yourself in between one or the other? Do you feel stuck on there? If there are ways that you want to take this forward into your life, then definitely go back, re-listen to this and make notes and have a look and identify where you are between some of the things that I've spoken about. But if not, and you're like, others motivated, I'd rather work with somebody to do it, then do send me a message at the top of the page. Be happy to discuss how and if I can help with this. If you like to be motivated by other like minds, then you'll definitely love the Visibility Vibe Tribe group. As I say, just click on the link and go through, and maybe post in there today what you're going to be motivated about using the hashtag Monday Motivation, or in the comments below. But if you need help, don't struggle by yourself. If you need to move forward faster, especially in this school holiday where, you've got the kids, you've got so many plates that you're trying to spin, then do reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's book a time to talk and see if and how I can help. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sharing this. I so appreciate those of you that share these on with other people. It's a kind of a weird form of online gratitude. So, thank you so much for sharing. And if you're thinking, well, how would I share this? I would recommend that you just share it on your private timeline, because you never know who of your friends, family, or even Facebook people or connections might just need to hear this right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love it to hear some of the things that you're looking to be motivated on. Give me a thumbs up, a love heart, leave a comment below, let me know. I will be reading these throughout the day as I coach and do various things throughout my day to day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to reading your comments either below or over in the Visibility Vibes Tribe group, or even below here on YouTube. Thanks so much. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Alan. Bye for now.